Huda said, and we'll be married in a year in the suburbs. Kid on the way in 3. That's what she said. If you're not chronically online and you don't get the reference, I'm sorry for you that you just had to hear that. But yeah, that's what I feel like Huda has been saying the last few episodes. This is your host, Leah from Positively Uncensored. This episode, I'm going to be getting into Love Island Season 7, Episode 9. This came on last night, depending on when you're watching this. This is June 12th's episode recap. I'm going to end this episode by giving you some twists that I'd like the Love Island producers to take on. I made about 5 new rules, new twists that I'd like to see. I also might end this episode by doing my brief tier rankings. I posted it over on my TikTok. I'm also going to post it to my Instagram. So just to give you an idea of what we're going to be talking about. If you watched last night's episode and you could describe it in one word, please put it in the comments for me below, because I would describe the episode as boring. I think, if I'm being honest, they could have kept about 75% of the episode. And I think that that's being pretty generous. It was a boring episode with the exception of the last 15 minutes. And then the episode ended on a cliffhanger, which means that tonight's episode will be better. But yeah, it wasn't that good. If you saw my last video, my prediction was that there was no way they were going to love us viewers enough to send in all men for the Bombshells. I knew it was going to be a mix, and it was. We had 2 guys come in and 1 girl. I'm going to get to that a little bit later, because the episode starts with Huda and Jeremiah having the rest of their chat. I think the last episode ended with Huda finding out that Jeremiah's friends were skeptical of her. I think that that's what it was. I think that the episode 8 ended with her finding out that Nick's friends were like, I'm not sure. Sometimes it feels like she's faking it. Sometimes I can buy that she's really that into you this early on. So that's how the episode starts. They're finishing that conversation. And Huda tells Jeremiah, if I wanted to play it safe, I wouldn't tell you about my daughter. Remember that. I wrote down the exact wording because I thought it was very odd. I'll come back to that a little bit later, but just sort of setting the tone for a general theme that I'd like to hit on. I'm not understanding what Huda's goals are for delaying the information that she tells people and almost like using her daughter. I don't know what to say. Like, I feel like she should be proud of being a mother, and I wish that she felt that way about herself. Hello to everybody who's in the chat. Thank you for spending time in your day with me, especially this short notice. Oops. Okay, so further in the episode, Alandria and Taylor encourage Ace. Okay, so yes, they're all standing there, and Shelly has icing on herself, and they're kind of like the two, like the angel and the devil on one shoulder. They're like, Ace, like, lick it off of her, like, lick it off of her. And he does. I didn't have a problem with this because I don't feel bad for Austin. I don't feel bad for Austin. We already know who Austin is. We saw his social media. I have seen men masquerade before as being good people and be duplicitous. So I'm just not feeling bad for Austin. Now, I feel like Ace, I don't know how to put it. I feel like wow, yard work would start as I'm doing this. If it gets really bad, I'll probably end up hopping off of the live just because I know my microphone is on and it might be really loud. But yeah, I don't mind that Shelly had that moment. Austin's upset though, and he goes and talks to Charlie. And this is what I mean, like, moments of Austin come out. Like, in one hand, he was like, like Shelly's obsessed with Ace. And then on the other hand, he was like, I have no problem chasing someone, but to a certain point. Let's read some of the comments. Huda knows that being a mother limits her love interest, so she already approaches the subject in such a defeated manner. Like, girl, stand up straight and own the fact that you have a child. That's how I feel as well. And I want to acknowledge that I'm sure that she feels that way because of how she's been met with that information prior. But it's still something that's so important to love about yourself. I know it's easier said than done, but to lead with in your relationships, like all of the things. So I completely agree with that comment. Do we think Austin genuinely wants to pursue Shelly over Amaya? He is buying time, in my opinion. She has a very anxious attachment. I absolutely agree. I think that there's anxious attachment going on there. I just can't take Austin as being like a genuine person because of how I've seen him move online. I don't want to dispute the fact. I do think that he's interested in Shelly. Like, I actually do think he's interested in Shelly. However, I just still, I don't like him. I'm like, get away from him. I'm like, get away from her. Like, I just am not a fan. Okay, so yeah, Austin talks to Charlie about how Shelly's obsessed. Then he said he's willing to chase someone to a certain point. Amaya and Shelly make up. Meanwhile, Austin says that he's tired and he's irritated. He just watched Ace lick icing off of Shelly, and he realizes he's further in this love triangle. Let's see. Ace decides this night to sleep in Soul Ties by himself. Plans are he's going to wake up in the morning and make breakfast for Shelly. He had plans to do that yesterday, but the plans were kind of put to an end. Now, let's talk about the night cam. Night cam reveals several things to us. Sierra and Nick locking lips, Charlie and Hannah locking lips, Huda and Jeremiah. Something was going on there. Now, I don't think this is the first time we've seen that, but something was going on in the sheets. And I can't tell, but I think both of them sort of like lead with physicality. Now, in the morning, Ace makes his hibachi style breakfast for Shelly. Basically, Taylor goes up to Shelly. He's like, you got a text. It was sort of laid out in like a cute way, like, come downstairs, you're going to chop it up with Ace. I also want to say, I don't think that Ace is really in control of when he gets to ask Shelly for dates. Like, I do sort of think that at the very least is probably choreographed by production. Like, I think that they're probably the ones in hindsight, like looking back, who were like, go ahead and go interrupt her if that's what you want. Go do it now. Now's a perfect time. I do think that they have their hand in that. And I think it's also because Ace is one of the only single guys there right now. Like, he's not coupled up with anybody. Amaya is not interested any longer. Shelly is technically coupled up with Austin. So I feel like producers are like, okay, if you're not going to be coupled up right now, then you need to have a storyline. So I sort of feel like that's what's going on. Please tell me honestly in the comments, like I said, if the noise does become unbearable, because like I said, I will hop on later tonight if that's the case. I have no problem with that. 30 minutes of silence. So I thought that the yard work was done. That's my bad. Maybe it was even longer. Okay, so Austin made Shelly a plate anyways. He saw that Ace was making breakfast for her. It's so awkward. I can't really imagine tiptoeing around the kitchen and being around someone like who's pursuing the same person as I am, but that's what Love Island is, and that's exactly why I wouldn't go on it. Okay, you don't hear any noise. Thank you for saying in the chat. Okay. Okay, yeah. So Austin's like watching from nearby. Shelly and Ace have breakfast. Shelly's like, let me be a little honest. It's a tad overwhelming having both you and Austin pursue me at the same time. I'm like, thank you, Shelly. Thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for being honest, because I would imagine it's a lot too. Like, I can't believe you guys can't hear it. Shout out my new mic. Okay, yay. Yeah, I feel like if I was Shelly, okay, I would have to go to a space where I'm not looking at the person I'm coupled up with, just because I would feel odd with them looking at me, not out of a respect thing. I would just feel weird. It's sort of like how I can't talk on the phone when someone's sitting next to me. It's almost like I can't hear as well. Like, this is a private thing. I have my conversation. I do the pacing that I do. Ace says that he wants to be intimate with Shelly, but he would like to do things the right way. Shelly agrees. So she's torn between lean back, which is what I call Ace, because he's always leaned back to sort of like mask his height. And then she's torn between lean right. Of course, she doesn't know that he's Mr. Lean Right, but far right Austin. If the decision had to happen now, who do you think Shelley would honestly choose right now, Ace or Austin? I do think that she would choose Austin. I'm sorry. Ew. What? No. My mouth spoke before my mind. I think she would choose Ace. I think she would choose Ace if she had to. Now, here's my worries. I did a tier, which I'm going to show you guys later, like a ranking of the Islanders. And I don't feel confident in Ace nor Austin. And Shelley needs to make it to the final four. So that's the only reason why I'm okay with like keeping both of them around. Plus, I'm like, Shelley, I support you in your rights and wrongs. I'm here for you to explore. Okay. Now I'm screaming, Austin, get away. I can't stay off his back. I can't stay off his neck. Oh, Austin's probably going to see all of this. But yeah, so I don't care. The thing about Ace is he's 22 and then Austin's a conservative. So I don't trust either of them as being end game. However, if Ace and Shelley ended up together in the end and he ends up growing on me, I'm not going to say that I couldn't see a world where that happens as well. I could also see a world where he was a playboy. Because here's the thing, like I said, I do think that production really is sort of sinking their teeth into Ace right now. And I think that they're kind of telling him, listen, you need to do the stuff that we're going to ask you to do if you're going to stay in, because you're not coupled up right now. So even the moment where he did a date for Taylor and Alandria in this episode. He guides a date where he's dancing with them. And we know that's what he does on social media. He's on TikTok. He teaches people to dance from all over the world. I couldn't tell if producers asked him to do this, which is very plausible, or if Ace was like sort of like doing a little bit of self-promotion. Now, to be fair, I think that every person comes on Love Island to promote themselves. Absolutely. Like I think everybody comes on and like I don't blame them either. There's a certain bit of acknowledgement that if you're going to go on Love Island, there's a possibility that you have a platform at the end. There's also a possibility that like Ulissa, you end up getting removed and you need to go home. We're kicking you out. But she never should have been on the show anyways. Ace is the head boy in charge. LOL, the men seek validation from him on everything they do. The men absolutely go to Ace. He is. He and Nick are the leaders of the pack, very much for the men. They look to them to see what's going on. What else happens? Okay, so Amaya and Austin talk. And the gist of this conversation from my end was that Amaya is a little bit interested in Austin. Like she's like, I want you to be happy. You haven't really looked happy. Like I see that you're in this love triangle. I'm not sure. Like I'm really not sure. I know that they shared a kiss. I'm gonna have to go back to that episode because I honestly missed the kiss that they shared during meditation. Now, once I see it, maybe I'll better be able to get an idea of their chemistry. But to me, I don't see any chemistry between Amaya and Austin. I saw Amaya like potentially interested and Austin sort of like acting like he's interested so that if things didn't work out with Shelley, he could pursue things there, but like not necessarily genuinely interested. Amaya was testing the waters for a friendship couple just in case. Absolutely. It could be a friendship couple. Reminder, if you haven't drank your water, we're 80% water or more. Oh. Okay, also reminder, don't drink it as fast as I did. Huda pulls Nick for a conversation, and this was easily my favorite moment from the entire episode. I'm seeing a great question in the chat that I'm going to get back to in just a second. But Huda pulls Nick, and she's like, so, I'm a mommy. And he's like, Mamacita. And she's like, no, like, I'm a mommy. I'm a mother. I'm a mom. He's like, mom. And she's like, yeah, mom. And he's like, mother of what? And she's like, and he was like, dog mom. And she was like, no, like I'm a mummy. I I I cackled. I really laughed for a very long time. So basically he eventually gets it, right? She's like mother of a human child, of a human daughter child. You're so mother. Yes. Like that is what it seemed like. Nick was like, yeah, I know. Your mother. That's what the conversation did seem as. So I cackled. This fully enthralled me. Like my boyfriend came out of the shower to me like hunched over, like cackling and rewinding because I thought that that conversation was hilarious. It's funny that Nick's reaction was better than Jeremiah's. Yes, it was. Yes, it was because he had a lot more follow-up questions. Now, I'll be interested to see if someday we find out that Jeremiah actually had a lot of follow-up questions and if they edited that out and if they edited that out, for what reason? You know what I mean? I am kind of confused on that. But we'll see. We'll see, right? This is like a false scenario in my head. Nick ends up sharing that there's a couple that were not able to have children, so he donated his sperm. So he might have a child as well. And somebody on TikTok, I'm going to find the creator and tag it below in the comments or the details of this episode. But a creator talked about how Nick stole Huda's thunder in this moment because what he said was honestly more shocking. And he was like, oh, well, I think I have kids too, multiple, maybe. And it had me rolling. It was very funny. I think that Nick already knew that Huda was a mom. His reaction didn't feel real, especially the way he feels about her relationship with Jeremiah. I thought that initially, but it felt like when they had that conversation, because they are mic'd up so frequently, like they can't fart in bed and not have it on mic. I feel like we would have seen a conversation earlier. I felt like that was the first time it was mentioned, and I also felt like you could see like a weight like lifted off of Jeremiah's shoulders because he didn't have to like not have any of his friends to talk to, but I like that theory. So Kiki, it's not completely out. I feel like she is still using the mommy card to get in his good graces, knowing what he said about her to Jeremiah. This is such an interesting point because I had a good friend say this to me on the phone earlier. She said that she felt like it was purely manipulative, like she was aware of who had the most criticisms of her. And so she went to that person to try to get them on her side, sort of like how she goes from calling the women bitches to this is a sisterhood, me and you. I initially, when I watched it, perceived it as I didn't think that Jeremiah was forthcoming about which guys said that about Huda. So initially to me, I was like, oh, like Huda's going into this sort of like blindsided, not knowing that Nick is the one who was the primary shit talker about her. And she's trying to have this conversation. And like he already sort of has an inkling to not like her or to still look at this information with his eyebrows raised. So I think I was off base actually with how I interpreted it. Continuing on, let's see. Okay, yeah, like I said, Ace teaches Taylor to dance with Alandria. I'm going to tell you another thing I didn't like about this date. And maybe I'm just thinking perhaps, first of all, Elantria looked amazing. Amazing. Salsa in 2 minutes? Sure. Oh my God. I thought of Tyler too. Who said Tyler 2.0? In my notes, Tyler, in my notes, I was like, Tyler? I said that too. And I didn't know what that meant for a second. So I was ignoring that in the comments as to not trigger my ADHD. But that is exactly what I thought of. That's exactly what I thought of. I thought it was odd how Huda then told Nick he'll be the uncle. Exactly. That part was weird. That part was weird. It reminded me that of how she called her and Jeremiah mom and dad before he knew about. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and Bella did say, Beldasha, she did say on an interview that she was the first person to call Jeremiah and Huda mom and dad. So I think that's where Huda got it from. And she also openly admitted, Beldasha, that her and Huda fed each other's delusion. And I'm not saying that word to be unkind. Like that's the words that Bella used. Like she said, like I will, I guess, admit sometimes she fed my delusions, I fed her delusions. And it sounded like even like Jeremiah helped fuel some of Bella's delusions as well. That's what she was saying in her interviews. I sort of lost where I was at. That's my bad. Oh, okay. Alandria looks beautiful. Like I said, learned a salsa in 2 minutes. She's amazing. I get really embarrassed really easily. So I'm just personally thinking of myself. I don't want a spectacle of a date. I could barely handle a spectacle of a proposal, but it's like an important day. Like, I love it. Okay. Like, fine. Everybody loves love. I can deal with being the center of attention for just a moment like that. But I don't know. Like, what if I did bad? What if I didn't get the dance down? You know, like, what if we don't have chemistry? Like, what if we want a private little moment? It felt like a plug. But again, do I, to give Ace some grace, LOL, it could have been a producer move. Absolutely. Ace shouldn't have had to tell Taylor to do something special for Elandria. And this is what another user, I think, was talking about when we were talking about how much the other guys look to Ace for like what they should do. And it's very interesting, right? Because Ace is 22. Is he not the youngest in the group? I think that's very interesting. It's odd. I'm going to keep putting, for everybody who's listening on Spotify to this later, I'm going to keep putting comments up that I'm getting in my chat, and I'm going to keep reading them. So for my, oh my, it's odd that she doesn't want the other guys to know that she's a mom, especially if she's locked in with Jeremiah. Why does the other guys knowing matter? Exactly. And I don't want to be mean. I promise. This is not just like a bash Huda. I truly, if you're new to my content, I could see why it would feel that way. If you're not new to my content, then you're probably familiar with how I review things. It feels like a sort of burden for everybody to be keeping this as well. Like, it's like, because not everybody knows who else knows as well. So everybody's really keeping things private, right? Like, Shelly and Alandria were the first two told. So for a while, they were only having conversations with them. Then I think eventually she told the girls, but Jeremiah knew and he wasn't allowed to talk to anybody else about it. And then she told Nick, but they can't have a conversation about it with the rest of the guys in the villa. It's just like a lot of like controlling, and it's confusing. A 22-year-old is running the villa. Alandria looked trapped during the kiss. Exactly. Like, body language says cousins, you know, and that's on Taylor because I can just tell that I mean, it should be coming easy. It should be coming natural. Alandria is stunning. Like, you want to feel stunning. You want to feel wanted, desired, lusted after, priority, ravishing. So Taylor didn't lead with that. And that was your mistake because you're going to lose a 12. You're going to lose a 12. Now, Jeremiah, this is where Jeremiah and Nick have their conversation. If I already talked about this, please tell me. My attention span is at really bad right now because although you guys can't hear it, I'm listening to very loud yard work. So it keeps distracting me. Now, Jeremiah has a conversation with Nick, and he's like, so what did you think about Huda having a child? And Jeremiah was like, I mean, I love kids. I love kids. So I'm excited, you know? And Nick's like, well, let's just take a moment to realize that I think it's a little bit more than just loving kids, right? Like, I think that you would probably have to change your lifestyle a good bit if you were to be there for Huda. And if you guys moved in together, I think that there are a certain amount of expectations that would fall on you. Like even if she says that she doesn't want help, really, it would be the right thing to do to help. That's what I got from Nick's conversation. What did you guys think? Alandria is a 20. She could break the scale. Absolutely. I think that Nick was a great friend in this moment because I made a video about this on my TikTok. I don't know, I don't have children, but I do think that just generally loving kids, being like, oh, I love kids. Kids are hilarious. I love kids. They're adorable. They're cute. I think that while it's good that you love children and then decide to have children, it would be hard to hate children and then have children. Although some people say that they hate children but love their own children. That's fair. That's fair. That doesn't encompass the responsibilities that come with being present or stepping up to the role of helping someone who has a child. And I want to say as well, let it be known that I do not think that single moms are like dating in order to alleviate their responsibilities or have a partner like take over the things that they do. I think that single moms deserve so much respect. I think that they're completely capable. A lot of times they have a co-parenting situation established and sorted already. They're not looking for the person they're dating to be their child's dad. Like they already have a dad, but in terms of stepping up, being a good partner, not leaving your partner with everything, adapting your lifestyle to now it's different. It revolves around someone who's younger, who's smaller, who has different needs. Like I think that there's a difference. So I hope that I make it clear that I by no means think that single moms like it can't do things alone, because I really think that what Nick was saying and what I agree with is the part that it would just be, it's the right thing to do to offer to step up. A single mom who works too hard. Okay, what is everybody saying in the chat? I have such mixed feelings about Nick because while he stirs the pot sometimes, he simultaneously gave Jeremiah good advice. Completely agree. I'd rather she sticks to Austin for now. Shelly always drops everything when Ace snaps her fingers. I'm tired of it. I want Shelly to do whatever Shelly wants to do. However, I agree, and only because Ace thinks he runs shit, and I need him to not feel that way. You coupled up with Amaya, whether producers instructed him to or not, unfortunately, we don't know that. So we're just going based off of what we saw. You coupled up with Amaya. You didn't choose Shelly. Okay. And whether it's funny that now your connection is top priority, but it wasn't. And so I'm okay. I'm loving the fact that Shelly does whatever she wants to do. However, I wish that she even made him wait 10 minutes. Like do the whatever they did or whatever they were supposed to do that morning. Do your date together. But I wish that he just knew that Shelly wasn't like available at the snap of a finger. I wish that it was like, oh, okay, she's going to make me wait because I'm springing this upon her. Let's see. Nick and Ace are the same. Shelly still hasn't had Ace. Why? And I wonder if they've had these conversations behind the scenes. I really do wonder that. Like, I wonder if she's talked to him about why haven't you picked me, or playing into what someone said on TikTok, like if he was told by production, like he delivered his speech about to pick Shelly, production interrupted, said you're going to pick Amaya. If that happened, like I could see them not being able to talk about it on camera, I guess. And Ashley, I figured out what you meant too, even though it was typed out wrong. No problem. Okay, so Hannah has a conversation with Sierra, and I think it's important to note this. In their conversation, she says that she loves the chase and that she likes to play cat and mouse in relationships. Sorry, Charlie. Sorry, Charlie. That's not overly available, Charlie. Okay? Like, I'm telling you, Austin and Hannah have some weird thing going on. Like as soon as Hannah picked Austin for being the most vanilla in the bedroom, whereas Austin just looks like a guy who would want to be tied up. Genuinely, he looks like that. He looks like he would want that 100%. Like even a humiliation kink that just looks like Austin. That's obviously just not true. Right. So it was kind of like to like row at each other, like, ah, you're so vanilla. Show me you're not. Like that's sort of what it felt like. Sierra gets a text about the leather and lace party tonight. And this is their chance to show your partner who's boss. Everybody looked good, except for I still have a best and worst ranking. Like, let's start with like everybody looked good. This is Love Island, but I do have a best and worst dressed. Now, the best dressed is obviously Alandria, Shelly, Ariana. I was not going to include her as she's not an OG, but Iris did look good. And this might be a strange take, but I like Jeremiah in the lace shirt. Don't literally. Worst dressed Jeremiah. Oh my God. Oh my God, my arm keeps going numb. But I think that the worst dress was Austin. I'm sorry, Hannah. I didn't like what Hannah had on. And that that cut of whatever she had going on in the back, it had her bottom flattened like a pancake. I didn't like that at all. I didn't like it. Ariana looked amazing as a brunette. Dye your hair. I really did not like Austin's apparel. Um, Something happened when the Bombshells walked in. I'm reluctant to say this. I reserve the right to change my mind. Is this a safe space? Something happened when the Bombshells walked in. I had a realization, and I thought Taylor was really attractive. But I had a realization when Taylor was standing there and all the men were there, waiting for their girls to get kissed or whatever. Taylor just sort of reminds me of, like, he doesn't really have like a lot of like muscles, so he just sort of reminds me of like a little boy like waiting to get into the swimming pool. Like, that's the best way I can describe it. Like, it was like, and I know he's a cowboy, so that's really endearing to me, but I just sort of never realized that before, and then I realized it tonight, and I was like, wow, like, that's just interesting. Yeah, Jeremiah's like, did you guys, I'm sure everybody saw by now, but yeah, Kendall Jenner trying to, what is it? Basically claim, what are they calling it? A white tank top, which was, when I was a kid, it was called a wife beater. Like, she's like trying to claim that as herself. I don't know why that popped in my head, but it was just sort of styled similar to how Kendall wore hers that all the girls are crying over. I'm gonna move on. Okay. Jeremiah and Huda end up in an argument. And this really threw me off because this is when Ariana comes out looking how she looks. She's standing there and she's like, who's been a bad boy? Who's been a bad boy and girl? And Huda and Jeremiah are having themselves an argument in a whole other world. Like, I'm like, how can you guys even be arguing? It's like people who argue at the Grand Canyon, right? Or like, I don't know, not Grand Canyon. We're somewhere beautiful. Argue somewhere beautiful. Like, what? How are you going to argue on vacation? What's happening? Look in front of you. And the argument, mind you, was over. Ariana asked the group, raise your hand if you're dominant in a relationship. And Huda raised her hand, and Jeremiah did not raise his hand. Now, we only catch bits and pieces of what they're arguing about, but we hear her say something like, you didn't raise your hand? You didn't raise your hand? Like, you wouldn't do that for me? Or like, you don't like me enough? Like, it was something like that. And he was disassociating. Jeremiah disassociates quite a bit. Non-clinical opinion, just a guess. Interesting. You guys are exhausting. And while they're arguing, we're getting information that I didn't need to know. Like that Hannah likes being tied up, or Austin has had a lot of public sex in an AMC theater. AMC, did you hear that? Ban him. Ban him. Okay. Candle wax, he got that from Wolf of Wall Street. That was the first time he ever saw that, and he was like, oh, I'm gonna try that. And he likes being tied up as well. So basically, I think him and Hannah will get together. They do like similar things. Now, Hannah goes first in this game that I don't really know what it's called, because I honestly, it was an amazing concept. It was like an X, like America's Got Talent, right? Like when they click the X, it was like that. Everybody was, it was like a bondage thing. Everybody had their hands up and their feet. I don't know if their feet were up actually, but their hands were up in these like soft little handcuffs. And at first, all the girls went around and they did their thing. They were being all hot and they were like, and like having like little like soft little tussles and stuff. Now, Tuah Hannah goes first. And or maybe is there a way to combine Tuah and Hannah, Tuana? You let me know. So she goes first and she spits on that thing to the back of the tonsil. And it's like you could have missed it. And you want to know why? Because his mouth was open. And she put hers like right here. And she's like, so you're welcome for the visual. She goes first. So up next is Sierra and Nick. Now, unfortunately, like, yeah, I hate to like a man as much as I like Nick, but I like Sierra just as much, if not more. So I'm gonna give myself a pass. Now, Sierra's spanking herself, and me watching at home, I'm like, hit him harder. Like hit him harder. Just like for fun though, like just, she was being so dainty, so gentle as she was whacking him. I'm like, whack him. I just want to see his reaction, like just once. Obviously, not in a physically abusive or aggressive way, but just like a good bam. Up next is Shelly in Austin. Now, the bar's in hell, right? So while we're here, let's just say I do appreciate that when Austin talks about Shelly, it's always like, she's so gorgeous. She's stunning. Like, oh, Shelly. Like, you can tell he's from Michigan. As somebody who's from Ohio, you can tell that Austin's from Michigan. That's all I'll say. He has outkicked his coverage by several miles anytime that he's with Shelly. Now, Huda and Jeremiah are next. And I just have to say, and maybe this is my sign, Leah, 30 changed you. Stop watching Love Island, you old bat. Maybe, but it was too much. I'm like, okay. It wasn't until we're in the like peeling down the jaw band or draw band of the waist thing, like in there with the mouth. I'm like, you know what? Boom, give us a bonus scene. Might as well, like that's almost where we're at. Now, she crushed it, I guess. I don't know like what you're supposed to want to happen for this. But yeah, she did next is Alandria and Taylor. I don't think Taylor deserves Alandria right now. So basically everything she does, I feel like is too much for him. Ace and Amaya go next. He looks physically pained. He does sort of, he like makes a scene, like for example when they turn them around in a few moments, which they do. He's enthralled that Amaya's kissing a new person every time. Like he's like, thank God. He's basically saying is he doesn't want to be paired up with her. Now that's another point for the theory on TikTok, which I'm going to link in the details of this episode once I post it, to the creator who said this. But that's another point for the possibility that production told him to couple up with Amaya. Just another point for a possibility. Now, let's see what happens next. Okay, Ariana's like, my love language is gift giving. So welcome, Pepe and Jalen. And out walks Pepe and Jalen. Pepe was 27. I believe he's from Spain and he likes fashion. Jalen is now, one of them, I think Pepe said he was here for Sierra, didn't give a fuck about Nick. I think Jalen said that he was here for Alandria. He's Southern, and I kind of missed what else he said about himself. You let me know in the chat, first and foremost, what did you think about the Bombshells? No pressure at all to answer just at the end of the live. Could you answer my final four? Oh my God, yes. Because also, I've made a tier that has this. So let me write this down. As you guys tell me in the chat what you thought about the Bombshells, I'm quickly going to take off my sweatshirt. So give me, I don't know, about 10 seconds. Thank you. Okay. We're back. They were not cute. Okay. Mid shells. Oh my God, instead of bombshells, mid shells. I didn't get that joke earlier. Now I'm getting it. I think there should be a new rule, which I'm going to propose at the end, about when they send in bombshells that I don't perceive personally, and I guess it would be up to like the whole audience's opinion, that I don't perceive to be as good looking as the girl that they send in. It did not give what Miguel gave last year. No, it didn't. No. I think Olandria might like Jalen, and I think that I might like Jalen as I see him more too. So I'm gonna reserve, like, jury's out, okay? But first impression, I wanted to be blown away. Blown away. I'm gonna call up Miguel's friends. Actually, don't, because I don't know. But like we need that. We need that. Okay. Um. Okay, so the men, each one by one, get to go around and kiss all of the girls. And at first, I thought they were going to have to pick only the ones that they're interested in, but they got to kiss every single one of the girls. And Huda was the only one who sort of like complained after her kiss, but let it be known she did kiss both of the bombshells, okay? Which is why when in 2 minutes, Iris walks out, Iris, 25, from LA, considered self-proclaimed flirt with a great body, who has her eye on Jeremiah. Why are you upset? Why are you upset that he's participating in the challenge and kissing her? Charlie was excited for nothing over Iris's arrival. She's not interested in you. Quite literally, nobody is. Okay. Um, you are overly available. That's why Hannah didn't have to fight anybody to get Charlie because nobody else is looking for him. Now, when Ace sees Iris, he's like, "Oh, hell yeah." So Ace is excited. Now, I don't know if he said this because he was genuinely ecstatic or if he said this because he was sort of like poking at Amaya more. They genuinely cannot stand each other. They can't stand each other. Now everybody kisses, and the only person who we're going to talk about is Huda and Jeremiah. Is it the Huda and Jeremiah show? Sort of. I'm sorry. I hate it. Okay. It's a very mutual thing. Now, she goes to kiss Jeremiah, and Huda's leaned back the entire time. The entire time. And she's watching. And first of all, that would already make me feel nervous. Okay. But then she's like, "You better quit it, bitch." Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. Like, first of all, yes, Jeremiah peeked through the crack to look at you during your kiss, but it wasn't stopped. Okay. The lean back was insane. Also, did they give her longer? Did they give her longer arm things so that she could do that? Genuinely, because it didn't seem like anybody else had the range. I don't know, right? Right? This is like tinfoil hat stuff, okay? She's like, "You better quit it, bitch." Watch the whole time. Now, Nick goes in, which is interesting, right? Because Sierra and Huda could not be more opposite from each other. I think Charlie's cute and I love a British accent. I'm glad that somebody thinks Charlie's cute because you know what? Charlie sort of reminds me of Robbie from Lazy Town. And I think that not being able, like, I think that that's done something to me. So, oh, that's how the episode ends. The episode ends like that. Like, what the fuck? Like, the last 10 minutes was important. And it just ends. And like, they have new bombshells. They're all going to be in the same house together now, but we have no idea what happens. So, as promised, I'm going to tell you first the new rules I have, and then I'm going to get into my top 4. The new rules I have is if they bring in a bombshell that the girls don't like, okay, then guess what? By default, the bombshell that they brought in for the men has to leave as well. Sorry, the world's not fair, okay? Next, you're done, production, with picking your bombshells. You're actually done. We get to now. So from now on, the new rule is you're going to post 4 bombshells, maybe 6. Okay. And we can vote in 2. Like whoever has, or 3, whoever has the highest votes from the audience will be the bombshells that go in because you guys can't be trusted. Next up, the first round in my opinion, this could go really wrong and I could end up changing my mind. First round, it would be fun if we, as fans, or maybe the second week, could put together the couples that we want to see together for just one episode. Just one episode. If people are stuck and we're tired of seeing them stuck, unstick them. It's just a thought. A new twist that I'm proposing. I think it would be fun if they got a text and they were like, I got a text. And the text was from either one of their friends or it's a text from a producer. And the text can either be 30-second video from friend with things that they would like you to know. That's obviously pre-watched and about their experience on Love Island. Or a screenshot of their social media page. Or, I don't know, what the internet is saying about them. Like something. Like I think it would just be cool to see a text of something else. Whether it's a friend being like, I'm watching you. We can't stand this person. You should see what everybody says online. They hate him. Like, I don't know. I just think it would be interesting to see the reaction. Most excited to see who comes in next. Ace. Did we all not see this coming? When are they going to let us vote? I keep thinking that I missed the vote, that the voting booth gets closed. No. Can we pick the bombshells to go in? Why can't we? Oh my, why can't we? Why can't we? It's time to get more people out of the villa, okay? So Austin, Hannah, Charlie, you're going first. That's just off the top of the head. The other idea, shout out to my friend Nikki, who had this idea, was that the bombshells that come in, each girl gets to swipe left or right out of a group of guys, and only the bombshells that they're interested in getting more time with, actually come in the villa. Like just a little bit more consideration for the girls, because they always seem to get the short end of the stick. Now, I am going away for just a second to a different page so that I can show you the tier list that I made. Okay. Okay. Can you guys see this? It looks like you can. I'm going to end with the final four as promised, right? This is the tiers that I made. I'm going to be posting this to my Instagram. Now, final four. Obviously, I'm bringing Elandria. I'm bringing Shelly. I would like to bring Sierra. Nick may end up moving to final four. He may end up moving up there. I'm not 100% sure because this is the caveat, right? If I'm judging by the promo, Elandria and Nick end up together at some point. If they end up together, that would mean Sierra would have to be coupled up with somebody else in order to be safe. So like her spot could be up, but only if Nick and Elandria ended up coupling up together. So, but final four, and I can't even really include any men. So it's basically whoever those women are coupled up with. Those are my final four. Now for the plot, Nick is for the plot right now. He's entertaining. He's funny. He's doing what needs to be done on the show. Amaya had the men shaking in their boots. Okay. Somehow she really gets under Ace's skin for the plot. Now, for the plot, I need Jeremiah to stick around only because I'm curious if his head's going to turn. He has 2 episodes to do so, and then you're gone. You move down, way down to you have 30 minutes. Okay? That's what I think. Now, if I have to, the category below, meaning if I have to save my girls, I will vote for them. So you are here as a +1, Taylor. Now, I'm leaving space for the fact that he could be a slow burn with Elandria. I'm leaving space for it. Ace. As of now, you're annoying me. But if I have to keep Shelly safe, I'll keep you. Austin should be down in bags packed, but that's not a category that exists. So, and because he's coupled up with Shelly, and I don't feel just comfortable enough being like, oh, like Ace and Shelly, because Ace is also unpredictable, as we just talked about his reaction to Iris walking in. I need her to have two options right now. That's what I need her to have. Two options until a legitimate option is there. Now, I feel misogynistic saying this, but Huda is in the you have 30 minutes category. Jeremiah, in theory, should be down there too. The reason he's not, if Jeremiah turns his head and ends up with Iris, for example, I would want to watch. I would also be curious, is their relationship take a similar trajectory that he had with Huda, or was it a specific dynamic with the two of them? However, if they don't break up within 2 episodes, they can go. They can go. Okay. Now that brings me to the final column, which is not invested, which is where, quite frankly, most people should be, but they're getting some allowance. I don't care about Charlie and I don't care about Hannah. I don't. I don't care. I don't care. You know, like, not interested in your love story. I'm not interested to see you more on the screen. I turn off, I don't turn off the TV. I'm not that petty, but I'll leave the room. I'll do something else. I'm not invested when they're on the screen. As stated, I'm going to share this to my social media, but as now, these are my final 4. Now, the question is, TMS 10, does this answer your question? Does this help? Because I'm thinking that my final 4 is this. Also, how often do we think it's appropriate to do these? And would you guys be interested to see how this changes throughout the season? I did not include the bombshells. We haven't seen them enough. I didn't feel like that was fair. But yeah, okay. So that's all my thoughts. That's basically all of my thoughts. We've spent 51 minutes together. Now, I'm not going to give my worst rankings because I don't know yet. Like, just know that Huda and Jeremiah are temporarily on there. But the best, like, people who I'm really enjoying watching is I'm enjoying watching Shelly. I'm enjoying watching Alandria. I'm enjoying watching Sierra. And I'm enjoying watching Nick. Those are the people that I'm enjoying watching right now. In the comments, tell me what your tier list would be. Okay, put that in the comments. If you're when you watch this video, whenever you watch this video, also tell me what you think about the rules suggested. Do you like any of them? Do you like all of them? Should I be a producer? What do we think? And tell me, I want to know, I'm trying to figure out how I can get interviews set up. I did not, as of now, fingers still crossed, get to interview the first Islander to exit, which was Baldasha. So hopefully I'm going to be able to interview more people as the show goes on. Fun fact before I go, for anybody who watches the show Summer House, I'm going to be interviewing Imrul on my podcast. I'm really excited. I think this season did him dirty. I think the reunion did him dirty. So I'm excited to talk with him and find out everything. That's going to be coming very soon. I think I'm going to be posting something on Reddit so that you guys can share your questions that you have. You can DM me. I hope the rest of you have a great day. I also completely agree Shelly and Alandria have to stay, or I'm boycotting the show. If either one of them go home, I'm going to be pissed. So stay tuned for the episode with Imrul. Feel free to comment, on this episode on YouTube. You can leave some comments that you have for him, some questions. Like I said, as soon as we get the day completely locked in, I know that we're going to be chatting. I'll post something. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Thank you for joining me. Bye and happy weekend. Happy Saturday.